Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. On this channel, we spend our time looking at fantasy of all sorts, from books to movies to video games, and applying the characters within into the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. And today, we're going to be looking at one of the most iconic and well-beloved video game characters in all of video game history. The icon of Nintendo himself, Mario Jumpman Mario. Mario is been on the scene for a very long time, and everyone knows him. How could you take a character so unique and put him in D&D? He's a bit of a complex build, Mario. Let me see how we can do it. Now, Mario, being a short humanoid, I gave him the race of Halfling, specifically the Stout Halfling. His alignment, I made neutral good. He tends to be on the good side as the hero, but he balances the line between following the rules and doing things his own way. His background is guild artisan, as someone who's worked in construction, plumbing, and, a lot of different trades in the past. He definitely has the guild background, as you will. But what kind of class would he be? Well, there's a lot of different abilities Mario has, and I've chosen a couple of his most iconic ones and really leaned into that. I've made him a level 11 character, but I've had to multi-class him. He is both a fighter and a monk, and specifically, he is a Rune Knight fighter and a Sun Soul monk. We'll talk in a minute about the different features that those provide. As far as his stats go, he is unhumanly strong, able to smash through brick walls and lift giant monsters above his head. I gave him a strength of 22. And he's unhumanly dexterous, with jumping being the thing he's most well known for. I gave him a dexterity of 22 as well. However, he's not the one with the greatest stamina in the world. Couple hits from an enemy and he'll go down. However, he does have a lot of hardiness when it comes to running fast and swimming for long periods of time. I gave him a constitution of 12. He's also not particularly well educated. He knows his trades, but that's a little bit where it ends. His intelligence is 10. He's also not the biggest strategist in the world, but he's capable of basic puzzle solving. His wisdom is 12. And he's well beloved by the people, even though he doesn't talk much. He's a bit of a star, more because of his actions than his charisma. But I gave him a charisma of 14. Decent. His skill proficiencies, he's proficient in acrobatics and athletics, which makes sense, as well as insight, since he's capable of telling who's an ally and who isn't, and what their motivations are, as well as persuasion, because, he's capable of getting a lot of allies to help him out on his adventures. His languages, he speaks Common and Halfling, as well as Celestial, since he commonly speaks with star spirits, and Giant, because he has the ability to turn into a giant. We'll go over that in a moment. He's proficient in all armor and weapons, as well as carpenters, smiths, and tinker tools, all things that match up with his tradesman abilities. He's proficient in strength and constitution saving throws, as befitting his baseline as a fighter. He has 78 hit points. His low constitution kind of leans into that. But because of his monk background, he's able to have an armor class of 17, leaning heavily into his dex. He also has a speed of 50. He's a very, very fast guy. Again, thanks to his monk subclass, or his monk class. He does wield a hammer. As has been seen in many of his adventures, Mario carries a hammer with him that he uses to smash his enemies as his primary weapon, but he also is incredibly good with his unarmed strikes. His features that he gets from both fighter and monk power this up. Now, what about his actual feature list? Let's have a good look at that. He gains Lucky from being a halfling, meaning that he can't crit fail. He also gains the Brave feature and the Halfling Nimbleness feature, which makes him a lot better at not being afraid, obviously, and being able to move around the battlefield with ease. And he has Stout Resilience, which gives him resistance to things like poison. His fighting style, I gave him Unarmed Fighting, because it turns out Mario is very comfortable using his fists, and he's very comfortable fighting without a weapon. And then he gets his Rune Knight abilities. Rune Carver, which allows him to wield both fire and frost magic, and the Giant's Might ability. This is one of the key factors of Mario. He's able to grow. That's something you see in his games. When he pops a mushroom, he'll grow to a larger size. So in this game, he goes from halfling-sized, being, just about 3.5 feet tall, and he grows to a large-sized creature, a good 14 feet tall, and gains a lot more strength and power behind his attacks. He also has standard fighter stuff, Second Wind and Action Surge, as well as extra attack, which he gets at level 5 as a fighter. But then we switch over to the monk side. As a monk, he gets his unarmored defense, that's how he gets his 17 in AC. He has a martial arts ability, which allows him to do extra damage on his extra punches through his ki. He does have ki, and he uses it for his Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind powers, giving him more maneuverability as well as extra attacks. He has unarmored movement, which speeds him up quite a bit. That's how he achieves that 50 speed. But as a Sun Soul monk, keep in mind that other than growing to larger sizes and jumping, what is Mario known for? Throwing fireballs. In this case, he gets the Radiant Sunbolt ability. Radiant Sunbolt being a long-range attack that can replace punches. In the case of Mario, that, to me, is just throwing fireballs. Except they're not the spell fireball. They're just little fire punches that go a short range. He also has the Searing Arc Strike. This is a radiant fireball that he can throw and power up using his ki points. That's for when he's doing more serious fire attacks. Now, he also gets Deflect Missiles. Deflect Missiles is a monk ability that allows him to block shots from ranged enemies, as well as Slow Fall, leaning into that whole Mario can jump a long way sort of thing. And then he gets Stunning Strike, considering that he's able to stun and knock enemies out in a hit or two. That adds up compared to the games. And his Ki-empowered Strike means he can face enemies that have magical defenses just using his fists, which Mario often does. And then he gets a couple feats as well on top of all this. I gave him the Mobile feat, which upped his speed even further. And I gave him the Magic Initiate feat. For those times he actually wants to throw a Firebolt far, I gave him the Firebolt spell, as well as Prestidigitation as his other cantrip. And I gave him the Jump spell as his leveled spell. Bit of a stretch, but it means that he's able to jump even further, tripling his jump distance. This is more appropriate for the Mario we all know. The high-jumping, flame-punching, and fire-throwing hero of the Mushroom Kingdom. I think Mario is a phenomenal build, and could easily be in someone's party as an ally or an NPC, and just the idea of having a Rune Knight fighter mixed with a Sun Soul monk gives you so much versatility. The long range of your Radiant Sunbolts and your special little spell Firebolt, the ability to use your hands to cast your Burning Hands spell through Searing Arc Strike, the extra Action Surge, and the Giant's Might, it all adds up to a really, really strong unarmed build. And of course he's got the Warhammer sitting nearby for that little bit of extra oomph when he really needs it. I think Mario is a hero befitting D&D, And just because he's a quirky little plumber doesn't mean that he doesn't belong on your table. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes open for more character creation coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.